All right. I think we're live. I think that it's working. Here we go. It is 6:31. It is June 15th. It is post-Fed. As we said yesterday, wouldn't be a bad thing if we had a nice move up in the morning, sell some risk, get short some indices, get smaller, because the day after the Fed, they like to maybe trap you or shake the tree. But anyway, we'll get into that at this point. My name is Scott Redler. I am the Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club. As we measure the action, we go over levels, we try and leave our opinions at the doorstep, and manage the day and manage the process. Let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. Who do we got? I'm sure we got It's in the house. We got Max and Mike, maybe. We got Massapequa. We got, where's my boy Marco from Marbella? We got Mario from probably from Cisco, right? We got It's in the house. We got Village, Florida. We got Texas. What up, Cowhand? All right, so what did the Fed say? The Fed said yesterday maybe we could go 2 more times, maybe, leaving the door open just in case the market gets too hot so we can slow it down in July. But chances are if we hit a short-term peak yesterday and we retrace down to some lower levels, chances are they might be done. So with that being said, let's measure the action. Let's see what's going on in the sectors. Let's watch the leaders, and let's be responsible because it's been a hell of a move. I know most guys on the Alpha team, have had their best 4 to 8 weeks they've had since the 2020 crazy action, including me. And then yesterday we all tried to reduce a little bit, not to get caught. And if you have a few leftover things and you lose a little bit on a day like today, we'll see how it goes. Still a lot of day in front of us. Not a big deal. We switch some gears and we wait and see. What up, Elmore? So anyway, let's move this down a little bit here. So look at the SPYs here. SPYs got a little loose and wide yesterday. Little loose and wide. Not a crazy erratic day like we usually have on Fed day. I actually traded a lot less yesterday. This is the high from last August, right? So, you put this going across. Look at that. That's right around 431. Look at that. That's also the 8-day. So at this point, we've had a heck of a move. I think this move started back on March 28th. It got re-energized on May 17th, and then again on June 1st. Those are the 3 days where I kind of put more risk on. I'm not sure if we're going to go red to green today. I'm more inclined to say, hey, cut it and run, but we'll see. So if you take a close look here, at the SPYs, this is what I would look at. Here is yesterday's low, 433.63. Right now the SPYs are only down $1.40. So the SPYs are showing a little relative strength to the Qs. The Qs are down 240. So right now the Qs are weaker than the SPYs, but we've also had a little broadening out, so that makes sense. So right now 435.66 is where we are right now. So that's still 2 points above the low. So if they want to shake the tree, be a little careful. They can go down 2 points from there. And if this were to break the 8 days right here, and that would also probably be a really important spot because kind of like would be the retest of the high from what's it called? From August. And then, obviously tech's going to be, very important. The Qs. Look at this. Look at this cup and handle pattern. This is, by the way, the August high. Look how much we are above that. So if you want to look at the Qs, which is good to look at, 363.43 is where we're at, okay, which is 3.5 points above where we touched yesterday. So at this point, we're down a little bit this morning. So just be careful if you've been trained and had success, kind of like I've been doing, buying a dip and having things go red to green and having a lot of success that way, because sometimes you go to the well one too many times and it can get you. So I'd really say be a little bit more patient the first 30 to 60 minutes. Hopefully yesterday you took my advice and you sold a lot of risk and sold some premium. We were talking about selling the SPY 441s and 442s, which I already had sold. I wanted to sell more, but we really didn't rally enough, so I was like, that's good enough. and I get out of most of my indice longs. So I have no indice longs on, which I've been holding on to for 3-4 weeks. I'm short the indices, and I have like only 4 leftover longs, and got rid of like 8 things yesterday. So to me, I feel like, sometimes you want to, thread the needle well, which is what we try and do. But sometimes you can't be perfect, where you have to have some risk on just in case. And you can't make money long for weeks and then catch the day you're supposed to be short. Hopefully you have a little bit of a hedge on, so it helps. But anyway, so here's the SPYs and the Qs, down small. Europe was down small. Asia was mixed, so they didn't really care much. Some people are saying, does what happened yesterday indicate that we're going to be in a, what's up, Mario? How you doing, my man? Does it mean we're going to be in a recession? I think the Fed was, I think they were pretty prudent yesterday. Stock market had a huge move. So in my mind, they're leaving it open to raise 2 more times. If we hold here and we continue this trend, it's been a strong trend into July, and the S&P's at 4,500, you know what? He's going to raise rates because he's going to think we could absorb it. If yesterday was the high in the S&P and we retrace over the next 2 to 3 weeks back down 3 to 4%, chances are he's going to stand pat. Even though he doesn't really watch the market is what he says, but that's not true. So anyway, can't get too bearish if we hold 360, but chances are I do think we get there. It just feels like it. I don't know. It's intuition. Traders have intuition. Small caps I got out of yesterday. Got very loose and wide. Did a little red dog reversal. We've been in it from here. Was done with that. That was a nice long booked in the bank. XBI, we booked that also. Was long it in here. Took it off into that area, and that's got loose and wide. So a lot of action kind of got loose and wide yesterday. Even the Jets, we got off a little earlier. Look at that move. A lot of people are like, Red Dog, you don't even talk about the Jets, and you gave us a perfect entry in the Jets in the end of May. But anyway, so we'll see how it goes. As far as the names that I've been very active with, I'm still in a little bit of Apple. It's down 90 cents. That's something I'm going to watch today. So if you look here, Apple's been unbelievable. They did shake the tree a little bit yesterday, not crazy. You could go like this, and say, hey, is Apple going to hold yesterday's low of 182-ish? If it doesn't, I'll be done. If it does, and it builds here, chances are maybe it can continue and maybe it could take out this spot. But if they want to shake the tree, they could bring Apple back below 182. And the 8 days even right there. But anyway, it's a 183. Usually what I would do is just say if I came in with 1,000 shares of Apple, I would probably look to buy versus a 5-minute low, maybe another 1,000 or 2,000. And then if it rallies off of it, trade some cash flow. But then if we come back and break that low, I'd be out of it and say, okay, it's fine. But anyway, we'll see. At this point, it's down 90 cents, not a big deal. What a big move. Remember, we were buying it post-earnings gap and then sold it into the event, bought back here, and I'm smaller. That's why I use a tier system. Sometimes I'm in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. At certain points, I was in tier 2 or 3 of Apple. Now I'm in like a feeler. Same thing with Tesla. I've had tier 2, tier 3, even tier 4. And now I'm almost neutral because I'm long a tiny bit of Tesla, but I'm short premium above. So we'll see how it goes today. At this point, we've been long a lot of Tesla since 169.76, and there's been great ways to trade it along the way. It's kind of cute that it did fill this gap that we were talking about, 262 went as high as 261.57. I was almost fully out of it, but then I felt like, all right, why fully get out of it? It's still holding here. Maybe it builds. So instead what I did is I stayed long a little bit, and I'm short the 267 calls. So it kind of helps that, but then I'll see today, what do I want to do? Do I want to try and buy it versus a 15-minute low, or if it doesn't rally and feels really heavy? Yesterday was the first day it showed relative weakness to the market after 3 or 4 weeks, so that gave you clues. You better reduce or sell some premium. We talked about this yesterday. I was short the 260s and the 267.50s, and I was on the stock and sold some stock, covered some premium, traded around, and now we'll see what happens today. As of right now, Tesla's below 250.50. Okay, if you look at Tesla right here, it's below, okay, the prior day low. So what is that showing you? Just real quickly, because you have the Qs above yesterday's low, and you have Tesla below yesterday's low. So that's showing you relative weakness for the first time in probably 3-4 weeks. So that tells you be careful. If it were to reclaim the low from, just say, from yesterday, and try and come back up, that would take some pressure off. If it stays below 250.50, then chances are we're going to be testing 242 and change, maybe even filling this gap down to 235 in the 8 days right there. So chances are, Tesla's probably going to see, 240 to 242, especially if today is one of those days where post-Fed you have a trend down day. So be careful just buying a bids, buying it so fast. It's been unbelievable. This was your spot to be crazy long. This was another spot to put a nice call spread on or calls on because it held the 200-day for the first time. Here it filled the gap. So that was your spot to get smaller. Listen, I'm in small overnight. I'm short some calls. I'll trade around it, and you can't be perfect. Traders are not perfect, no matter what they say on TV. Sometimes you have to kind of pay to see, right? Yesterday I was telling you guys about, or this for the last 3-4 days I was telling you about, catching the move in Unity software. So we were buying here. I was buying options for like 50 to 60 cents. Yesterday I added to it. 2 days ago I added to it. Yesterday I bought a lot through 39.45. Where did it get to? It got to basically this 43 area, right? Where did it get to? 42.34. So 42.34 is what it hit. So let me give you a little quick lesson on my tier system. Just say, I'm going to use very arbitrary, just say your tier 1 is 1,000 shares and you are holding 1,000 shares in this bull flag. You had your move up on Apple Day, digestion. So 1,000 shares. All of a sudden gets above 38.20, which was a resistance level. You went to 1,500 shares. You added 500 shares. Then yesterday, it was going to get above 39.45. You added another 1,000. Now you're at 2,500 shares. Starts to go. Now you start peeling it off at 40. You go from 2,500 to 2,000 shares, or 40 and a quarter, maybe to 1,700 shares, or 41. Maybe you're down to 1,000 shares, and then it goes to 42. Maybe you're back to 500 shares, and you're like, okay, now I could sit in it. Same way with the options. If just say I had like 50 calls, you're selling it along the way. So today, if you come in after a move like this, and you're in, just say 500 shares, and U is down $1.24. Okay, it is what it is. You're down on your tier 1, but you made money on your tier 2 and tier 3. Now today you see, hey, maybe there's a low to trade against. It comes into 39.50. The SPYs want to bounce, and it comes off of that, and you say, oh, hey, I sold 41 and 41.5 yesterday. Let me buy back a little bit into this 39.5, and then perhaps it tries to go green. You trade around that, or futures go up. It doesn't go up. It shows you shows you that it's not going to bounce. So then you just get out of the last tier and say, hey, that was a great trade from in here to 42 and change. If it's any good, you would think this 39.45 holds. So as I look at it, this probably would be a spot to add some back, especially if you sold it into the move. And that's how you use a tier system. Ta-da! Anyway, same thing with like a shop. Shop tried to go again, and then so if you bought tier 1, tier 2, and sold some, and bought some and sold some, then you're still in some. It's fine. It looked like it was going to be decent, and now you got to see, does it hold 63.5? If it doesn't hold 63.5, this goes from acting special and very strong to a little bit choppier and not as great. So you get out of the way. So that's 60. So again, you're allowed to be in a few things, testing it out, because who knows? We closed decent yesterday. But you also had to know in the back of your head, hey, maybe they're going to have an inflection point and be a trap the day after, because I've witnessed a lot of traps in the market post-Fed day, and usually it's a trend day. So if this is going to be a trend down day, make sure you have on what you can handle, and then see kind of what's next. Anyway, at this point, I'm not in Google, I'm not in Amazon, I'm not in Microsoft, I'm not in those names got choppy. Those were great names a month ago and got away from them, and that's why. And I've been basically just staying with Apple and Tesla because they were still trending well. Why did I get away from Google? Well, look, Google had this wide range bearish engulfing bar and really hasn't done a whole lot since. Okay, so it's just been an avoid. Here, it's tier 1, tier 2. Again, same thing with the tier system. Tier 1, maybe sell some, and then we're getting above this. You're in tier 2. Then back to tier 1, let it sit, and then you keep trading around it until it tells you, hey, this could be over. and wait, which is what this candle did right here. Anyway, NVIDIA is something to watch today because NVIDIA was strong as anything could be yesterday. Closed really well. And, you know, if you went out long NVIDIA, it made some sense, right? It just broke out. It just made an all-time high, closing the highs of the day. You know, if we were up today, it would probably be up 8, you'd be getting paid. It's down, so now you have to see, you know, what kind of move does it have. So I would say this is the 419 area. So I would think 419 would be a spot to test. Okay, if it doesn't hold 419, and just say right now it's at 421, then maybe it's a trap breakout failure. You know, because they used it yesterday to hypnotize everybody so they could sell and get short for today. But who knows? If this goes from down 8 to green, still acting real well. And this is what this high here was 411. So I would say support 1 is 419.36. Support 2 is 411. And here's your 8 day. Yesterday hit a high of what, 430? So put 430 in there. So you know, when I say look for clues to the action in tech, I'm not saying look for clues from CNBC, Fox Business, Bloomberg, or any of those guys. I'm saying look for clues from some of the key names. And if this key name is going to stay strong and keep crazy momentum, it's going to hold 419-ish. Remember yesterday I was telling you it should hold 406-ish, and it did, and had a good move. But anyway, and then 411 is really big. So we'll see what happens here today. Either which way, though, look at some of the key stocks. AMD to me is also kind of a key stock. AMD is a little looser, a little sloppier. Here's one. If AMD doesn't hold 122.5, chances are they're not coming in to save the momentum names, and you got to be a little bit more careful. So here's 122.5. So lots of little things to watch. So will NVIDIA hold what's it called? 419. Will AMD hold 122.50? Will Tesla reclaim 250.50, or is it on its way to 242? Will Apple hold 182-ish to keep this upper level intact? All things that I'm thinking about, could they happen? Same way, SPYs, will it hold 433 or shake the tree to the 8 day, which we're still 2 points above? Will the Qs lead the day lower? If that were the case, that means it breaks yesterday's low first. And that's how you kind of connect the dots in your head. Anyway, it looks like check your connection to resume, Brooke. GLD, to me, I've been telling you guys, has been very vulnerable. If you look at the GLD, this is the last thing that I said yesterday in my note. Active traders got stopped out around 188Y. That was the 8 and 21-day rollover. So this was the candle that anyone that was trading this actively probably sold it. And then it's been bouncing off this 180, but just definitely looks like it's below and vulnerable. So here, active traders got stopped out at 188 as it broke the 21-day. It's trying to hold the 180 area. It's choppy and vulnerable. Not special and trending, not making higher highs and higher lows. No. Stopped out if you were, active and getting vulnerable. So now I would think, it's on its way to test this 176 area. Same way with Bitcoin. I've been way out of the way with Bitcoin also. So the market gives you clues on when things start to weaken, when to reduce risk, maybe when to get more short, or maybe when to just raise cash. And that was the last day or so. Thanks for your insight, hoping it holds 180. Well, I think it's below it already. So let's not put hope, in the equation. I guess you could say perhaps, it breaks below this level and then comes back above and reclaims it. But chances are, if it stays below this 180, I would be thinking that the GLD has a move down towards this 176.30, but we shall see. Either which way, it's 649. A lot of traders have had a really nice 6 weeks, including me. Hopefully, you reduced a little risk yesterday. If you have a few things on, it happens. Don't get stubborn. Don't, have a false sense of security. We'll see if we can trade around them. But if we can't, get out of the way. It's Friday. Big Father's Day weekend. Hopefully you're doing something with your family and friends. I'm actually flying out to Florida to see my mom and my dad. And looking to take him fishing Sunday morning. He hasn't been fishing in a while. That's what we're going to do. Unfortunately, I won't be with my son Chase. He'll be playing lacrosse. But you know what? You got to figure things out. And then Monday, the market's closed for June 19th. So whatever you do, make sure you put yourself in a good frame of mind so you can enjoy the long weekend, refresh yourself, and then we figure out what happens next, with the last few weeks of June. And good time in life right now, right? It's a summertime. Beach, mountains, fitness, friends. You know what? Enjoy it, because when your number gets called, you never know. Okay, and then you're going to wish you did a bunch of things that you didn't do. And if you didn't have success in the last 6 to 8 weeks, really look at yourself in the mirror and figure out, what did you do wrong? Start working on that. If you did some things right, how do you do those better? And just become a better version of yourself, right? Not anyone else, yourself. And you don't need to be perfect to make progress. Usually people feel good if they just have some progress. Progress leads you to success. Good luck today, guys.